Tonight, two teenage boys facing charges after an assault turns to homicide in London's East End. Plus, trade talks update. What PM Mark Carney is saying about the August 1st deadline passing for a trade deal with the U.S. And a first of its kind in London, a new mechanical horse simulator trots into the city, helping riders young and old take their skills to the next level.
CTV News with Bryan Bicknell.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Two youths have been charged with the second-degree murder of a 27-year-old man here in London. The incident early Sunday morning has left neighbors shaken. CTV's Sean Irvin reports.
Photos show police officers searching for clues on Manitoulin Drive in southeast London. It was here about 1:40 a.m. Sunday. Police were called to a reported serious assault. They state an altercation occurred between multiple people. One neighbor telling CTV News he thought he saw people hugging before he realized a fight had broken out. Moments later, another neighbor reported a family member spotted what they thought was a knife.
Our investigations revealed there was some sort of interaction between the accused and the victim, and that's what led to the confrontation and then the 911 calls.
Police cannot reveal what started the dispute, but they have verified witness accounts that the fight escalated.
There was edged weapons reported being used and other blunt instruments, and we have taken that into account.
CTV News has confirmed the victim was found deceased on Breton Park Crescent, just around the corner from where police taped off a vehicle. The 27-year-old male was rushed to the hospital where he passed away.
He suffered a serious life-altering wound, which we're not sure exactly which kind of weapon or instrument caused that at this point, but certainly it was serious enough that it caused his life to be taken.
Yes, it's sad, especially it sounds like it might have been some young guys, and so you never want that to happen to anyone.
Investigators have not confirmed it, but multiple neighbors say the victim resided in a home within the crime scene. Meanwhile, police have arrested two suspects, both under the age of 18. The 17 and 15-year-old males have been jointly charged with second-degree murder. A perceived lack of communication has upset many neighbors on this street. Several telling CTV News in person and by email they can't believe it took police more than 2 days to give them any information about an incident they are deeply concerned about.
There's a lot of frustration through there that we haven't heard anything at all. Yeah, a little bit of news would have been, nice to hear something from them.
Police acknowledged public safety was never at risk after they arrived on scene.
We feel the stress that the community is feeling from this incident.
A beautiful neighborhood for so many years, and now these things happening. It's sad. It's very sad.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Thank you, Sean. Well, a wild story over the weekend and quite a turn of events. As CTV's Brent Lale reports, a man was rearrested after being set free accidentally after appearing in court on charges of attempted murder.
A London man charged with attempted murder is back in custody 2 days after being released by accident.
My initial reaction to this was, what the heck happened here?
Former OPP Commissioner Chris Lewis says public safety was jeopardized during a sequence of events involving London Court, the Ministry of the Solicitor General, and London Police.
We shouldn't have dangerous offenders just kind of absent-mindedly or through some clerical error be released from custody.
Friday evening, London Police frantically asked for the public's help in locating Cody Anthony LeBlanc Ash.
He should be in custody in relation to several serious charges, including attempt murder from an incident that occurred in September of 2024. He should be considered armed and dangerous.
Saturday, police say Ash was rearrested outside the city by 5 of their units. Police say he was not released by them and was in custody of the Ministry of the Solicitor General. CTV has reached out to the province for details on how this happened, but we have not yet received a response.
There's still a lot of unknowns about how this occurred.
Typically, court security or correctional employees will bring individuals in custody to the London courthouse and take them back.
Where did this guy suddenly get told, okay, you can go now? During the ride back, when he got to the jail, It's very difficult to tell at this point, but somebody needs to find out what the heck happened so it doesn't happen again.
Ash was originally arrested in October of 2024 after a man was hospitalized following a shooting on Booley Street a month earlier. Lewis does credit London police, who were able to re-apprehend him quickly with no one reportedly injured. Ash remains in custody.
But that's the good news story here. The bad news, and no one was hurt in the meantime that we're aware of. But the bad news story is that this is an obvious slip up on the part of someone. So there'll be a lot of discussions going on around how this occurred and how it should not ever occur again.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
One person is dead and another in custody after a stabbing near the corner of Princess Avenue and Colburn Street over the weekend.
Shortly after 1 p.m. today, London Police and paramedic services were dispatched here with regards to an altercation between two males. We arrived here and found one male suffering from some life-threatening injuries as a result of this investigation. That male was transported to Victoria Hospital with those life-threatening injuries. He has since succumbed to those injuries and pronounced deceased. The weapon is a knife, resulting in a stabbing, and at this point we're just trying to piece together exactly what transpired between the two individuals. We do have one male in custody. He has been transported, and we'll be charging him with offences once the investigation is complete.
And London police have since laid charges. 30-year-old Camus Toto has been charged with one count of second-degree murder. A suspect is still being sought after 3 people were found dead in Bracebridge over the weekend. Police were called to a home Friday night about shots being fired.
Once officers arrived, one person was located deceased outside the residence, and the residence was fully engulfed in flames.
On Saturday, investigators discovered 2 more bodies inside the home. They are now trying to track down 29-year-old Mitchell Gray. OPP say the suspect and victims were known to one another, but won't say if they were related.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. Still warm, hazy because of the smoke from the wildfires to our north and west. The air quality is not great, but a ridge of high pressure is keeping the clouds relatively clear of southern Ontario. The good news is, if you like the warmth but not too much humidity, well, we're in it and have been since the weekend, the long weekend. I hope you enjoyed holiday Monday if you had it off. We could see some showers later in the week. Tomorrow, still smoky. I'll break down what you need to know on that trend and where we're headed temperature-wise for the rest of the week coming up.
Thank you, Gary. A morning fire in London's Old East Village has damaged a home. The blaze broke out at 5 a.m. at 617 Dufferin Avenue, just east of Adelaide. Witnesses report heavy smoke and fire coming from the second floor. Firefighters cut a hole in the roof and brought in an aerial unit to combat the flames. It was brought under control within a half hour. No one injured, no word on the cause. One person is in custody after fire ripped through an apartment building on Warncliffe near Oxford Monday morning. Multiple 911 calls came in from 349 Warncliffe Road North. The third floor was out of commission as residents rushed to evacuate after a fire in a unit. A 49-year-old man who police say is responsible for setting the fire was arrested and charged with arson and disregard for human life. Tenants say it is the second fire in that unit. Fire investigators are now working on a cause and origin. The investigation has been reassigned to the LPS Street Crime Unit.
Our first engine arrived within 4 minutes of notification and was able to successfully deploy ladders to rescue that person from the balcony. As of right now, we have the fire under control on the third floor. We've got the building evacuated and working with our partners to help support the evacuees. We've contacted our fire prevention investigators to come in and determine the origin, cause, and circumstance of the fire.
18 affordable housing units in Goderich went up in flames this weekend. This was the scene after fire ripped through the building shortly after 11 p.m. Friday night. Firefighters were on scene well into the night. Nearby buildings were also evacuated as a precaution. 18 residences within the building were evacuated. Fire investigators are still working to confirm the cause of the blaze. 26 people were displaced. No injuries have been reported. However, Goderich Mayor Trevor Bazinet confirms the building is a total loss.
The third level of the building had to be, taken away for the fire marshal to get in there to do a good review of the property because of the load of the third level. So they removed that right away. That was the reason for that. The building itself, from what I've been made aware of probably about an hour ago, is the landlord is looking at demolition but isn't looking at rebuilding. A lot of communities are struggling with affordable housing. This is something that we would like to see developed in that area because that's what was in place at the current moment. Some people were paying $1,000 a month. 2-bedroom unit was $1,500 a month. So we would like to see it stay that way.
And the mayor says fundraising efforts to help those displaced began almost immediately. Cash donations and gift cards are being collected at Goderich Town Hall. Curry Road in Dutton has reopened nearly a week after a massive fire at a local car dealership shut down the main street. Over the weekend, fire investigators were still working towards finding the cause of the massive blaze. CTV's Brent Lale with an update.
Tough to watch it all get taken down.
Jim Corneal and his father Phil, the owners of Cotrac Ford, can only watch from afar as an excavator rips apart their family business. 4 days after the dealership went up in flames, the investigation continues.
It's in the hands of the OFM investigators. We have 2 that are on scene.
Investigators from the Office of the Ontario Fire Marshal have been on scene since Thursday. They continue to look for the cause and origin.
It's been slow, to get started. We've been, making sure that some of the battery cars are moved out of there, and they want to make sure everything's safe before they continue. So they're getting closer to figuring out where it is.
4 Cotrac vehicles were lost in the fire, and another one belonging to a Windsor man was burned in the service department while he was waiting for a part.
The 3 behind me, right directly behind me here, we're all in the one showroom. So there's still a couple on the other side of the showroom, but we haven't got to them yet.
To get to those, the OFM is using special equipment.
We have the special crew in that are taking things apart piece by piece and moving it out of the way. They work with the OFM quite a bit, and they do a really good job. So it saves them a lot of legwork. Very, very delicate how they handle things, and that's the whole idea. So they can get all the stuff they don't need out of the way so they can get in where they need to be.
As they wait for insurance, the Corneal family is thankful for all the support they've received from the community. They're now searching for a temporary location so they can get back to selling vehicles as soon as possible.
Kind of a roller coaster, but nobody got hurt, and we can always rebuild.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
OPP investigating after a fatal crash late Sunday night east of London. 1 person dead following a single vehicle crash at Hamilton Road and Breen Drive. Police say a driver failed to negotiate the curve on Breen Road, went through the ditch and launched off the berm at the end of the road. The road was closed for about 12 hours as police investigated. No word yet on the cause of the crash. A scary few hours for residents of an East London street over the weekend. Those who live in the Dundas and Vancouver Streets area were temporarily displaced Monday morning after a gas leak at a vacant home. Fire officials say the levels were extremely high with the potential for an explosion. They got neighbors out of their homes until they could get levels back to normal. A Chatham-Kent business is closing its doors due to a homeless encampment right across the street.
We don't know that somebody's coming here and doing drugs in our wash bay in the middle of the afternoon and overdosing and needing medical attention. We don't predict that.
Bee's Knees ice cream owner Dustin Ryan says the decision follows an overdose at their business last week. Staffed by 9 students, Ryan says the ice cream truck is no longer a safe place. About 40 tents are pitched across the street on the Public Utilities Commission property. The municipality is examining options to move encampments further away from residential properties. Until there's action, Ryan says they'll keep their doors closed.
We can't just up and move our ice cream trailer anywhere because we need running water and we need hydro. And we have bylaws that are in place that we have to follow to be safe food operational with the trailer. So there's not really anywhere else in town that will suit the needs.
London Ribfest drew thousands of visitors to Victoria Park over 5 days.
People choice! We catch up 2 awards yesterday, one that I never had before, and it was actually Thank You London. It shows us like people choice. That is an amazing award. Also, we got the showmanship award again.
Gonzalez Barbecue from right here in London captured 2 major awards at their hometown event. Meanwhile, Texas Jack's out of Cayuga captured 2 major awards for Best Ribs and Best Sauce.
It was amazing. Obviously, there's a lot of really good rib teams here. Everybody's great. And so it makes it, just that much sweeter, if I would say. Our sauce is something that we're really proud of. It's been in the family for 45 years. It started with Grandma Janine, which was awesome. It's unchanged. We're gluten-free. And yeah, we put a lot of love into it.
Coming up, with the tariff deadline come and gone, the Prime Minister addresses the focus of trade negotiations. Plus, charges are laid after a dog is euthanized near Oshawa because it was left in a hot car.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Prime Minister Mark Carney unveiled new measures today to help the softwood lumber sector struggling under U.S. tariffs. The sector employs nearly 200,000 Canadians and contributes more than $20 billion to the GDP. CTV's Rachel Aiello with more on Carney's message for the industry.
Unveiling new measures to snap the Canadian softwood sector's U.S. market dependence, today Prime Minister Mark Carney promised new loan guarantees and grants to help keep lumber companies afloat, accelerate product development, diversify markets, and fund retraining efforts.
We cannot count or fully rely on what has been our most valued trading relationship for our prosperity.
The move comes after the U.S. raised duties last month, prompting calls to make resolving the dispute a priority in the broader trade talks. Talks that Carney said today are continuing, despite U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff escalation last week.
I haven't spoken to the president in recent days. We'll speak when it makes sense.
Mark Carney has to deliver.
While polls show Canadians appear willing to give Carney more time, pressure is increasing as they watch Trump make deals with other countries.
Canadians are increasingly worried about Trump and the state of the trade negotiations. Concern on that front has been increasing over the last number of weeks.
Today, as both countries work towards a new North American trade pact, 2 of Carney's top ministers are in Mexico, talking to officials about how they secured a 90-day pause on higher tariffs.
Perhaps we can also learn something from their approach. They took a much more measured and perhaps low-key approach, and it seemed to work for them.
All of this coming the same day that new federal data shows Canada's merchandise trade deficit has widened to the second highest on record since April's historic dip. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A new kind of horse is turning heads in town and helping riders build confidence in the saddle. CTV's Rita Ismail with that story.
A Western-style saddle. This is Cassidy, a full-size, state-of-the-art mechanical horse designed to mimic the real thing. This horse has a movable head in 2 places, so the head moves, the neck moves. There are sensors all under the saddles. Cassidy is an interactive dressage simulator used around the world to help riders of all levels improve their skills safely and efficiently, and it's now available here in London. Local trainer Heather Broadhead is now offering lessons on Cassidy, aiming to give new riders a feel for the sport before they ever climb onto a real horse. Getting on the simulator can take you through numerous gates,
rather quickly, so you can go your walk, your trot, and your canter in several speeds. And this way you can get that muscle memory and know how it's supposed to feel when you get on a live animal.
Standing at 150 centimeters tall, complete with a realistic mane and tail, Cassidy came all the way from the UK with a price tag of roughly $100,000.
Showing you where you are on that.
Equipped with sensors, the simulator gives real-time feedback on posture, balance, and leg pressure. Data riders can see instantly on a screen. And it's not just about learning to ride. Broadhead says Cassidy is also helping people recover from injuries.
Nice thing about the biomechanics is you can give them the confidence and work them through programs to get them rehabilitated. And this unit puts them on with no fear of the horse taking a misstep.
While nothing replaces the connection of riding a live horse, Broadhead says Cassidy provides the skills and the confidence that translate directly to the real world. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Summer heat posing health problems for people and pets, leading to tragic incident near Toronto, where a dog died and another had to be rescued after being left alone in a vehicle. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
Some regard their pets as part of the family.
They're like your children.
Which is why many people who live and work near Simcoe and Winchester and Oshawa are horrified that 2 dogs were left in a hot car and one had to be put down due to heat stroke.
Makes me sick to my stomach. That an animal has to suffer like that. Unfortunately, people don't think.
Durham Regional Police say it was around 4:40 p.m. that officers were called about 2 dogs in distress. Animals, investigators say, had been left in a hot vehicle for an extended period of time.
When officers attended the scene, they spoke to witnesses and were eventually led to a veterinarian clinic where we learned that one of the dogs had to be euthanized from the heat stroke.
The owner was arrested and charged with willfully causing unnecessary pain or suffering or injury to an animal. And with the hot weather continuing, police are issuing a reminder to the public.
People think that these dogs are fine. They think, oh, if I put the window a bit, they'll get some air in. But we're finding on these hot days, we don't even really have much of a breeze. So they're not getting the temperature control that they need.
According to experts, dogs have a limited ability to sweat. So even a short period of time in a hot environment can be deadly. In fact, heat stroke fatalities can occur in less than 15 minutes. And even if you're parked in a shady area, your car can reach dangerous temperatures quickly.
I feel terrible. I think that is a horrible thing that happened to the pet, and I think that there should be more education about it.
It makes me very angry. I don't like hearing about dogs being in a car. Like, imagine leaving your kid in the car. It's the same thing, really.
Unfortunately, Mel Clatworthy, who has worked in the pet care industry for about 15 years, says it's all too common.
It's not shocking because we have seen several people leave their dogs in their car, and we do say something about it if we do see it, that it's too hot for their dog. They can bring them in the store.
Police say if you see a dog in a situation like this, you should call 911 immediately because these are emergency situations and there's little time to lose. Janice Golding, CTV News, Toronto.
Gary Archibald joining us once again for a look at the forecast. Well, Gary, it feels like it's cleared up pretty nicely now, but the last few days it really felt smoky out there.
Yes, and you could see it just looking at the horizon line. I'm still anticipating air quality index in the mid-tier, so anywhere from 4 to about 6 on the AQHI is considered moderate risk. We'd like to see it less than 4, and it's going to fluctuate because the wildfires are still burning across the Canadian prairies, parts of the Canadian Shield, northern and northwestern Ontario, and the circulation pattern has kept it rather concentrated of late. 29 degrees today, 3 degrees above seasonal, felt like about 32 to 34 within the city limits. We are still looking at temperatures close to about 28, 29, and upper 20s for the most part along the 4-1 corridor. Cooler as we head towards the Bruce Peninsula, Georgian Bay, and certainly the eastern shores of Lake Huron and in and around Lake St. Clair. Humidex values still in the low 30s in the city of London and close proximity. Still looking at a relatively quiet night. I've mentioned how that ridge of high pressure, which is relatively cooler air sinking to the surface, if it's sinking to the surface and it is denser by nature because it is cooler, then it inhibits the ability of the atmosphere for warm air to rise, form clouds and precipitation. There's still possibly the chance of seeing some isolated thunderstorms as we head towards Thursday and Friday. I think they'll mostly be stateside in Michigan and parts of upper Ohio. Meanwhile, we stay clear, as you can see, across southern Ontario proper. So no rainfall tallies to report. Here's the breakdown for tonight. Hazy still. Anticipate that through tonight. 25 degrees at 8 o'clock. The winds are calm. Normally, I would say that's great. Not so great. We'd like to see a nice breezy wind moving through to help clear the air, so to speak, and improve air quality. 23 degrees, mostly clear at 10 o'clock, partly cloudy at midnight, and a warm 21. Localized smoke still an issue through to tomorrow morning. We'll see clouds dissipating towards the latter stage of the afternoon. Take a look at the next 7 days, courtesy of our friends at Metal Roof Outlet. The highs and lows anticipated, the predominant weather conditions, as you can see with the captions and icons. And temperature-wise, the average temperature projected this week is about 28.4 degrees Celsius. Our average is about 27 for this time of the year. I don't really anticipate much in the form of rain across much of southern and southwestern Ontario for this week. We might see some scattered showers tomorrow afternoon. Local smoke in the morning through the Midwest, improving in the afternoon. Fair weather on Thursday. Friday, some showers possibly. The weekend looks good, mid to upper 20s, and cooling off a bit this time next week. That's a look at your weather.
July data shows a jump in the number of homes sold last month, but the average price is falling. We'll tell you how big the decline was. Data from the London St. Thomas Association of Realtors shows home sales in the area saw a notable uptick in July. Compared to the same month 1 year ago, sales last month increased by more than 28%. Although the volume of home sales was up, the average value did not see the same increase, declining by a little over 0.5% from July 2024. Factors include unpredictability of the market, as well as the Bank of Canada continuing to hold the policy rate at 2.75%. E-transfers are one of the most popular ways to send and receive money in Canada, with more than 1 billion transactions happening each year. Generally, it is a safe way to move money, but e-transfer fraud is on the rise as hackers find new ways to get into your bank account. Here is CTV's Pat Foran.
I was shocked. I thought this could never happen to me.
Lola Bielavuk of Toronto is using Poshmark, a website that brings together buyers and sellers, allowing users to purchase new and secondhand items. Bielavuk posted pajamas for $40 and someone offered to buy them.
I saw a link there that was for $40, which is what I was selling it for, an e-transfer. Perfect.
Bielavuk says she was sent what looked like a regular e-transfer link, so she decided to deposit the money.
I clicked Tangerine. I put in my client number and password. So I entered in the security code thinking everything is fine.
But after she did that, the website froze. Someone she didn't know added their name to her e-transfer contact list, and she was scammed out of $2,740. This happened in January. She's been trying for 6 months to get her money back without success.
And I was told that my claim was denied, that I was the one that was negligent.
Tangerine Bank told CTV News Tangerine will never ask you to download software or remote access apps, and you should never share your login information or one-time passcodes with anyone.
think before you click. Just don't go ahead and click on links that have been sent to you.
Cybersecurity expert Ritesh Kotek says AI is making it easier for criminals to create real-looking e-transfers and banking websites. He says scammers send fake links hoping you'll click on them.
You think you're logging into a financial institution such as your bank, but in actuality, you're logging in and giving your information to these fraudsters and hackers.
Kotak advises using auto deposits, strong passwords, and making sure you're on trusted websites. After CTV News reached out to Tangerine Bank, they reviewed Bielavuk's case again and told her, our recovery efforts with the other financial institution were ultimately successful and your funds have been fully recovered. Bielavuk has now been given a full refund, which was great news for her.
Thank you, CTV, for helping me get my money back. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful. Thank you for everything.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Today is the final day to vote on a strike mandate for more than 10,000 unionized Air Canada flight attendants. They're casting a ballot on whether to give their union the power to call a strike if contract talks between the airline and the Canadian Union of Public Employees are not successful. Negotiations began at the start of the year. If no collective agreement is reached, the union said a strike could happen as early as August 16th, but says bargaining is expected to resume at the end of this week, regardless of the outcome of the vote. Canada's main stock index started the trading week on an upswing while American markets fell. In Toronto, the TSX gained 426 points. In New York, the Dow fell 142. The Nasdaq lost 86. Canadian dollar lost a modest 1/100th cent. On commodity markets, gold gained almost $16 an ounce and oil dropped 80 cents a barrel. Still ahead, the measles outbreak that spread across the country is risking an important national designation. Canadian medical experts say measles transmission in our country continues to soar. As CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, it could result in Canada losing its status in a matter of weeks as a country where measles has been wiped out.
Canada was declared to have eliminated measles in 1998.
So measles elimination is defined by the World Health Organization, and it means that within a certain geographical area, in this case Canada, that there is no sustained transmission of measles over a 12-month period.
Jana Shapiro from the University of Toronto says it doesn't mean there were zero cases, just no sustained transmission.
And now that we've seen a resurgence in the past year or so in Canada, we are at risk of losing that elimination status in 2025.
10 of our 13 provinces and territories have seen cases. Alberta has over 1,600 cases of measles, and Ontario has seen more than 2,300.
We really had our bulk of our cases in kind of March, April, but that's not yet the case in Alberta. I think there's still quite a few new cases being reported on a weekly basis.
Many of the cases sprang from a single event in New Brunswick last October, which led to transmission in other provinces.
I have a lot of concerns. Very deep concerns professionally, foremost, and also personally. Professionally, because measles is truly the most contagious virus that you can come in contact with.
Michelle Knorr was diagnosed with measles in May and was hospitalized for several days despite getting a vaccination decades ago. And as a teacher, she worries about measles spread.
Average 32 kids in a classroom in city schools. It would be a really dangerous thing to have classrooms of children taken out by the measles. And most will manage it. Most will be able to be resilient and overcome it, but some may not.
Shapiro says Canada could lose its measles eliminated status as early as October and says public health vaccination efforts must continue. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Public health officials have confirmed that West Nile virus has been detected in Tavistock. According to Southwest Public Health, a mosquito trap in the area has tested positive for the virus. Although most people that become infected with West Nile do not display any symptoms, it can cause some people to become seriously ill. If you experience flu-like symptoms after being bitten by a mosquito, contact your local healthcare provider. American tariffs are having an impact on beer maker Molson Coors' earnings as the company forecasts a bigger drop in its annual profit. The company is a Canadian-American multinational headquartered in Chicago. The forecast change comes as a result of tariffs impacting the cost of aluminum it uses for its beverage cans. The company produces its beer locally at breweries in Colorado, faces a 50% tariff on aluminum metal shipped to the U.S. since June, when Trump doubled it from 25%. The Trump administration's fluctuating tariff policies have pressured consumer spending in the U.S., causing customers to cut back on optional spending such as alcohol. Devastation caused by raging wildfires across this country. Thousands of people have been forced from their homes in recent days on the West Coast, in the prairies and Atlantic Canada. In some cases, as CTV's Scott Hertz reports, flames are burning at historic rates.
Newfoundland and Labrador has had close to 200 wildfires this season, scorching more than 84 square kilometers. Historic numbers, according to the Premier, and now 2 fires burning in the northern Avalon Peninsula are forcing people from their homes. One fire tripled in size overnight to more than 7 square kilometers, and officials have confirmed today the growing inferno has destroyed property in its path. It's impacting an area along the western shore of Conception Bay. Another fire south of there in Holyrood has forced people from their homes as well. Fortunately, that fire did not grow overnight and is being attacked from the air and on the ground. Meanwhile, in Nova Scotia, they're taking the threat of wildfires so seriously, people are being ordered to stay out of the woods.
The risk is very, very high right now. We've had briefings from Environment Canada about the near-term forecast, and there is no significant rain in sight. This means more dryness, and it means more risk.
The Premier putting in restrictions on outdoor activities like hiking, some camping, and the use of vehicles in the woods, saying trail systems are off limits. And residents will want to take these restrictions seriously. Anyone caught breaking the rules, including the recently implemented burn ban, could find themselves $25,000 lighter in the wallet. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Tomorrow, 150 years of London Health Sciences Centre's history kept safe for future generations at Western University. What there is to learn from the letters, photographs, documents, and more. That's tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thank you to Matthew Penny for this great image. Pinery Park, beautiful location, the eastern shores of Lake Huron. Lovely in the fall, too, no doubt. The air quality not so great of late, but there is some improvement on the way for tomorrow through the midday. Will still be sunny and warm, mid to upper 20s, feeling like the lower 30s across southwestern Ontario. Expecting sunny conditions not just for tomorrow, but Thursday, Fridays, when we could still look at 30s, but showers on the way.
The Titan submersible disaster that killed 5 people more than 2 years ago could have been prevented. That's the finding of a new U.S. Coast Guard report released today. CTV's John Venavelli Rao on the findings and the implications.
What happened to the Titan submersible and the loss of everyone on board, including a teenager, was examined extensively by the U.S. Coast Guard. And with the release of a more than 300-page report, an investigative board finding what many have long believed, that this marine casualty and the loss of 5 lives was preventable.
I'm mad because it happened, and I'm sad that all these people lost their lives. And that's why, to me, it should have never happened. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen.
The report placing blame on OceanGate, the American company behind the experimental sub, run by CEO Stockton Rush, who perished in the implosion. It cites inadequate design, certification, maintenance, and inspection processes for the Titan, adding there was a toxic workplace culture. Some who expressed safety concerns were fired or threatened with dismissal.
To start operations, was there pressure?
Oh, 100%.
The report finding the submersible was used despite several prior incidents involving its carbon fiber hull. Adding OceanGate was able to operate Titan completely outside the established deep-sea protocols. The Titan had been on a dive off Newfoundland carrying passengers who paid up to $250,000 to see the wreck of the Titanic when the submersible imploded.
The good news is they would have been killed instantly, so they wouldn't have suffered, but they shouldn't have been killed in the first place. This was preventable.
In a statement, OceanGate, which is no longer operating, said we again offer our deepest condolences to the families of those who died and to all those impacted by the tragedy. The report also notes if CEO Stockton Rush had survived, criminal charges against him would have been considered. John Venavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
New video reveals a dangerous scramble for aid when an airdrop package lands in Gaza. The footage showing hundreds of Palestinians rushing to collect whatever they can. Infighting often breaks out around the packages of aid. One piece of video shows two men wrestling over a package, one holding a knife. Many in the region criticize the practice as shameful and humiliating. Hundreds of active wildfires continue to rage throughout Manitoba, and it's not just people who are impacted, but wildlife too. CTV's Alex Carpa has more on how the wildfires could impact polar bears and their denning habits.
At the shores of Hudson Bay sits Wapusк National Park in northeastern Manitoba. It's one of the world's largest known polar bear denning areas, crucial for the survival of newborn cubs.
Looking at where polar bear dens are. And
Stephen Peterson, the Director of Conservation and Research at Winnipeg's Assiniboine Park Conservancy, says a warming climate and a drying subarctic landscape is increasing the fire risk up north, placing polar bears in ever-increasing danger.
If we then start eroding and picking away at that denning habitat that's so important for producing new cubs and keeping those populations sustainable, then polar bears are just kind of getting another whammy that will make them less likely to be in Manitoba in the long term.
He is now hoping to create a map that can help inform wildfire fighting efforts in the future to protect wildlife in the north.
If we want to protect polar bear habitat, knowing where that habitat is and what's at high risk will help make those decisions.
Climate change is happening at a pace that is unprecedented.
Megan Jones has studied the impact climate change is having on polar bears and whether they can adapt to an evolving climate. In her ongoing study, she discovered that for every degree of climate warming, these polar bears along the western shores of the Hudson Bay are aging biologically by 1 year.
As we are losing ice in the Arctic due to climate change, bears are spending more time swimming, which is 5 times more energetically intensive than walking, so they're using energy a lot faster.
Manitoba's fire map shows one small active fire in Wapusк National Park and 2 other fires in the region, but it's not just the fires that could impact bears, but smoke too.
When polar bears are inhaling these gases, they're inhaling particulate matter, it's going to result in inflammation in their bodies as well.
Jones says the Arctic is expected to warm for at least the next 100 years, but in the meantime, she is doing everything she can to protect polar bears in the north. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. One man is on a mission to return British war medals awarded for service in the Second World War to the veteran's family. That is, if he can find them. CTV's Sarah Plowman shows us his attempts so far.
It all started with 2 black and white photos and a set of Second World War medals. But who is in this photo, and where is his family now? A mystery John Brady McDonald wants to solve so he can return the medals to the family.
So basically all the information we had was that.
The back of this photo offered clues. RFA Maine, Chatham, July 1930. And a name, George Mann.
George Mann was with the RFA, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary.
The medals also reveal some of this British sailor's story. Stars for serving in the Atlantic and Africa.
Anywhere that the Royal Navy was engaged in conflict, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary was helping to replenish them.
McDonald has been digging through websites and archives. He found this, a marriage certificate he believes is Mann's, married in St. John, New Brunswick in 1948 to Alice Margaret Silver.
Right now, what we're trying to find is descendants. When you deal with a surname like Mann, particularly a guy named George Mann, there are many George Manns out there.
The author and historian has reconnected families with medals and other mementos before.
These medals enter the market either by families don't know what to do with them. A lot of times the veterans themselves, due to financial difficulties, had to sell them. And the stories are lost with them.
Coming from a long line of Indigenous war veterans, it's personal.
My grandfather talked to me about his experiences during the Second World War and explain to me what happens when tyranny and fascism take over.
Stories he thinks are key to understand, especially now.
That's why it's important for me to get these medals home, so that these families have their history and that these stories continue to be told.
McDonald has received dozens of tips, but mostly it's information he already has. The marriage certificate suggests a connection to here in New Brunswick, but he questions, how did these medals end up out west? Something he hopes to answer if he can track down a family. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
Amazing story there. And that is it for us for your latest local updates. You can always head to our website. Our next newscast is at 11 o'clock tonight. From all of us here at CTV News London, thank you for watching and have a great evening.